Welcome to the It Gets Better From Here podcast, where we help divorced women rediscover their true self, reclaim their power, and rebuild a life even better than before. I am a founder, a transformational coach, and your host, Sherille Marquez. I know firsthand the post-divorce struggles because I have been there myself, and now I'm showing you the way forward. If you like this episode, please be sure to subscribe and also share it with your friends. That way you never miss an episode and you also share the knowledge. Thank you. This week, we're tackling a common misconception that needs to be shattered once and for all. The idea that divorce is a failure. The truth is, divorce is not the end of the road. It's actually a powerful opportunity to have a new beginning, one that resonates with you deeply, profoundly, wholeheartedly, in a way that best serves you. I'm going to share a few tips that's helped me shift my perspective on seeing divorce as a failure. You see, I got a divorce when I discovered that my husband of 13 years was having an affair. It was truly devastating. I remember thinking to myself, what does the future look like for a 36-year-old single mom? Who's going to love me now? I remember fearing the future so hard, but what I did know is that no matter what that looks like, my children and I deserve better. I come from a traditional Filipino background where we don't believe in divorce. We would rather, the culture would rather stay in an unhappy marriage. Knowingly, this is one of the common things that happens in Filipino households, traditional Filipino households that I know of, is that usually the men, have a whole set of different family, and the women, they just accept it. I went against society. I did not stay for the sake of the kids. I went against my tradition. I did not allow this situation or circumstance hold me prisoner to an unhappy marriage. And when I'm saying about my culture, my heritage, traditionally, what most Filipinos do, and usually it's the men that go off and cheat, the women, they just allow it. I'm not entirely sure why, but I suspect that it's because it's what's been done. And to do something different requires, gosh, if any of you have ever done anything different, gone against the grain, you know how difficult that can be and how isolating that can be. I did that. I went against tradition and got a divorce because, like I said, I knew that my children and I deserve better. They deserve even one parent being happy, because that will truly create the kind of environment, stable and safe environment that children need to foster, develop, and grow. I remember well-meaning family members saying, Sherille, stay for the kids. So and so, your ex-husband made a mistake. It was an accident. And in my head, I'm thinking to myself, how the hell is cheating an accident? It is a decision. Like, you did not accidentally, I'm sorry to be graphic, but like, your penis did not accidentally fall into you know what. So it was a conscious choice and it was a decision. So for me, I was not having that. And I apologize to whoever it offended at the time, but obviously a decade later, they have, accepted my decision, and it was the right decision. And that's one of the things too, that is not actually on my plan to talk about today, but you have to honor what's right and what's best for you and your children. The only person that truly knows what's right for you is yourself. You have to get to a place of silencing the noise, silencing the distractions, and connecting with your divine intelligence. If you don't believe in divine intelligence, let me know how your life is working out for you, and we can go from there. But there is a higher self, a higher power, divine intelligence, and we all have to do what we can to tap into that power. It will lead us to where we truly belong. Don't ignore the feelings when you know something is not right for you. I suspected that something was truly wrong when my ex husband was going through out of character things, situations, behaviors. And I wondered, I'm like, what the hell is going on with this guy? Like, why is he taking longer showers? Why is he holding on to his phone? Like, I don't know. He was just holding on to his phone. And these were things that if you've been married or in a committed relationship for a long enough amount of time, you get to know the patterns and behaviors of your significant other. And for me, they were out of character things. You also have to get to a place of being able to just observe, not reactive, just observe the behavior. Because if you observe people long enough, they tell you exactly who they are. The mistake that a lot of people make is the fact that they're projecting their own expectations of how, what, where, who their significant other should be like, when in fact, they're showing us who they are. We just have to pay attention. I can't stress the importance of listening to yourself, despite what all the well meaning family, friends, honestly, even health professionals tell you, because they're looking at it through their lens. You need to be kind to yourself. This process is a process, and you have to give yourself the time and space and grace to just be. You have to get to a place where you allow these feelings to come up, whatever those feelings are. And I'm going to forewarn you, it's going to be uncomfortable. When you can get ahead and set the expectation that this journey is a process, it takes time, and you're going to feel hella uncomfortable, it makes it a little easier because you know a little bit of what to expect. And having that kind of control of even knowing that, okay, this is going to be a roller coaster, I'm in this and I have to accept, I have to surrender, if you can get to that place, puts you in a better position, because you're going through so much uncertainty, lack of clarity, that any semblance of control is going to make you feel really good. You have to let go of guilt and shame. You're human. That is part of the experience. There is no shame and no guilt in trying something and realizing it's not for you, or that the road ended. That's what the end of a marriage is. Two people came together for where they were at that particular point in their lives, for how they were showing up, and they either grow together or they grow apart. That's precisely what happened with my ex-husband and I. There's also a concept of soul contracts, and I will explore that deeper in a different episode. But just a little bit of a brief overview. If you believe in the concept of soul contracts, which is metaphysical, then the concept is that different people in your life, whether it's a season, reason, or lifetime, they've come in to play a particular role in the evolution of your soul's growth. So the idea of a soul contract, it's like you guys sat in a boardroom, and your life, you are asking, let's say for instance, your sister, you're in this lifetime, your sister, to play a particular role. You're asking, let's say for myself, my ex-husband, hey, I really need to learn about betrayal and forgiveness in this lifetime. Who wants to sign up for it? My ex-husband's soul signed up for it, and he could have very well been my best friend in that lifetime. So, concept of soul contract, okay? Because life is a game. Life is a game. And I hope you really hear this. We're going to get into this in some of the different episodes, but life is a game. And you either learn to play the game, or the game is going to play you. And I'll tell you this much: you have to take a look at your life and just see if you're actually playing the game in the way that you want, or is life running you? Which is it? Because the beautiful thing about being human is that we have free will. We have the power to choose. You can choose how you want to feel about a certain person, situation, shit. That happens to me all the time. I'm usually 98% happy, no matter what the hell is going on. But that 2% sometimes, whew, man, people try me. And, that's being a human. And I know this. I know this in my mind that, okay, don't feel this way. Don't feel that way. Shift your perspective, shift this, shift that. But fuck, honestly, I'm human. I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, and I allow myself for those moments. So, going back to my point here is that forgive yourself, be kind to yourself, let go of the guilt and shame that divorce is a failure, because you and your significant other, you guys were honestly doing the best with what you know how. What really helped me also is shifting my perspective. My perspective of my divorce is that, or just life in general, when something is truly difficult and challenging, like my son having cancer when he was 3 years old and I was 6 months pregnant at the same time, I honestly thought that was the worst kind of pain I will ever go through. But honestly, divorce is a different kind of pain. So if you shift your perspective to, I'm going to give you a really nice tip here, seeing that life is always working out for you no matter what could be happening. If you shift your perspective in that way, that life is always working out for you, and you accept that you might not know why, you might not know, what's going on, but you trust that the dots are going to connect one way or another in the future, and you're going to be able to say, wow, now I understand. When you get to that place of understanding and shifting your perspective, I promise you, things get a lot easier, even if it's baby steps, incremental steps. But the point of that is shifting your perspective to realizing, accepting, and trusting that life is always working out for us. This experience, this human experience, is truly about evolution, becoming a better and better version of yourself. And like I said, when I get into the whole metaphysical episodes, we're going to explore and do a deep dive on reincarnation and what that means, because for me, it's truly served me in my life, seeing it from just a higher perspective. Not to say that I'm better than anyone else. When I say a higher perspective, like my higher self observing from here, which is where it's at, and having that deep connection. I also had a moment in my life, a period in my life after my divorce, when I lost connection with my intuition. And ever since I could remember, I've always been guided by my intuition. I just knew it. I felt it in my body when I was at the wrong place, at the wrong time, and with the wrong people. I was uncomfortable. It didn't feel good. And I'm sure that you have felt the same as well, but you just chose to ignore it. That's what happened to me when I was going through my divorce and the worst times. And my my compass was broken. I had lost connection with that inner guidance that has always put me at the right time, at the right place, and with the right people, because I was trying to make sense of it in my head, in my mind, logically, like, well, maybe it's because of this that happened, or, making excuses and doing this and doing that. Well, that's not how it works, guys. The way that it works is that our internal compass, our intuition is always spot on. We have to do the work, the inner work, and it's pretty isolating. So if you're not ready and you're not used to spend time alone to do self-reflection and introspection, you're not ready. And when I say you're not ready, I mean that in a way that you're not truly ready to move your life forward. You might say the words, I want to change, I want a better life. I want to attract that partner. I want to make more money. I want to be a better mom to my kids. But unless you're willing to do the hard inner work, and this shit is not easy, guys. That's why they call it the shadow work. Okay. The dark night of the soul is because it's fucking ugly. Like it hurts. It's painful. I felt like my body literally was in a vice and I was being pulled in so many different directions during my one of my lowest points, during one of my darkest and most painful times, feeling like I was going to honestly like burst because I was going to implode. I just couldn't, I didn't think I could handle yet another test, another expansion. Here's the beautiful part about being human. The human spirit is so resilient, guys. Allow yourself, try yourself, see how far it'll take you, because a lot of people quit right before they, get to the even like feeling the other side of what that light at the end of the tunnel looks like. Don't quit. Don't give up. I promise you, you are going to see a profound shift if you apply these concepts, these principles, these tips that I've just given you today. Just a quick recap on what we talked about today. Okay, so what we talked about today is you need to listen to yourself and your intuition. You need to be kind to yourself, give yourself grace and time to process and to heal. You also need to do your best to shift your perspective, not just about yourself, but also your worldviews. Thank you so much for joining me on It Gets Better From Here podcast with Sherille Marquez. If you found this content helpful, please share, subscribe, like, download so that it may help others as well. And I just want to leave you with this as always. Don't forget, no matter where you are in your life, no matter how old you are, it gets better from here. Thank you.